Okay, I think I'm starting to broadcast. A couple of minutes behind there because I hadn't put it down into Moodle. So if I don't do that, you can't watch live. And let's see, I have the three guys here. Somebody here? Yeah. Uh, let's see, there's six in the class. What about the same bunch that's in the intermediate, right? So how's that going, Jonathan, intermediate? Not bad. Huh? I can't play. Good. Um, it's a little harder than principles, but it's a lot of the same stuff. I got some fellow that works all the time, and I've got some young lady. And let's see, Tara, her last name I can't pronounce real good. She's live streaming. And then we have a young man, and her name, Sherry or something. Anyway, back to tax class and back to what we were doing a week ago. Uh, okay, somebody's asking a question. Somebody went to Video Center, go to Moodle. I just put it in Moodle. Now, Video Center, we used to do that. And now I just drop it in the Moodle and you click on that link in Moodle. And if she's trying to find a Video Center, that's the old system. I think Dr. Bourne, Dr. Sneed's still using the old system. I know Philip Imel, me, and Karen, and Darrell, we're using the new system. Burko, I don't believe he's using any. So I went to Detroit and got back last night. A lot of road construction. You think it's bad around here? So I'd have miles of it. And one interstate was totally blocked and it had to reroute us. It cost me 45 minutes in travel time. And anyway, I don't know why this came back. It should be broadcasting, but bring it up twice, I'll get an echo. So there we go. It did that before. When I broadcast twice, then it echoes, and it just did that in print managerial, and it's irritating. But we got through it. I didn't want to shut everything down, but we are broadcasting on the one. But anyway, I went to a wedding up there. It was a little town called Franklin Muth. Franklin Muth was started by German descendants, I guess German, motel was built. Hey, Giorgio, thought you wanted to repeat taxes.
Sure. Why not?
uh, but anyway, it's a Christmas town. It's got Christmas shops and Christmas decoration year round, and people go there because of that. And they do a lot of Christmas shopping year round. The motel was built and owned by Germans and their descendants and their descendants. And pretty fancy old motel. And of course, the wedding was there. And of course, the guests on the menu would have been kraut and wieners, was one of the things on the menu. So that was interesting. Had a reunion Sunday, and I think 30 some relatives of mine in the Detroit area, nieces, nephews, sisters, was at that reunion. So, did saw and did a lot of things in that length of time. Now this is showing up there twice. I just hope it ain't presenting twice. Okay, I'm trying to find my solutions. This says solution. Didn't I try to bring that up one time? And I don't know if they were current or not. Okay, now what chapter did I ask you to do the even problems on? Chapter 2 or 3? 2. We're going to finish 2 and start 3. So that's our. All right, let's go to page 37 if you have the new book, and I think all of you have a book or access to it. Now, number 28 says compute taxable income. We got a salary, taxable interest, we add on, itemized deduction 600. Compute Tom's taxable income, assuming he is self-supporting. Now, his salary is 1,800, his interest is 1,600. That makes 34. Jonathan, what do you think his taxable income would be? Well, yeah, that's his gross income now. Taxable income. Remember, he gets a $12,000 standard deduction. If you take away $12,000 from 3,400, you think anything's left? His taxable income is 0. I want you to get used to that. That's why we got to look at a few of these. Compute his taxable income, assuming that he is a dependent of his parents. All right? If he's a dependent of his parents, that makes a difference. So let me show you this part. Now, he'll get a standard deduction up to his salary. All right? Now, this is number 30. Number 30. I didn't ask you to do the questions, just the problems. All right? Now, here is the answer I showed you a minute ago, where I told you. All right, Jonathan, 34 minus 12 is 0. Simple. Okay. We're getting used to Trump's new laws. When we take out 12,000 standard, we don't take out an exemption. That's Trump's new law. All right, now B part, though, I want to show you this. His salary is 1,800. His interest expense is 16. You're going to take out that's 34. Now, take his salary of 18 plus 350, and that's his standard deduction. Now he's going to be taxed on 12,500. I mean 12,050. Okay. Before, it was a big advantage to do it this way. The advantage was the parents got a $4,000 exemption. It would save them 35% for $1,000. Or he'd only have to pay about 10% of this, $125. He'd pay about 10%, $125. Okay. His parents would have saved $1,000. But now, this would probably be the best way. Parents don't need to claim him. Why do they need to claim him? They don't get an exemption. All right. Terry, would you text me and tell me if you're okay or not? Terry, if this is coming in live stream, if you went to Moodle, can you text me and tell me that you're okay? All right, let's go to the next one. Yeah. All right. I want you to go back into the book, Jonathan. You help me find the page under kitty tax. Wherever kitty tax is. $24. All right, it's just written into the law. That's the amount that they give us. Let's see now. Children with unearned income. Now here you had a child. Boy, that pops up on me. It's wanting to restart some kind of update. Says it's going to start at 125, whether we like it or not, and it'll shut down. I don't know why it minimized itself. All right, now Jonathan, in problem 30, unearned income is your interest of 1,600. 1,800 is earned. All right, but did you find on that page that you showed me, did you find anything about the earned income and the interest? It's a given amount. Have you found 350 yet? I have not found the 350. Did you find it anywhere on those two pages? I don't believe it gave it to us real clear. But take my word for it, it's 350 every time. It's not a percent of anything. It's 350 every time. She must not be getting me, or she would text me and let me know that she went to Moodle. I hope everybody else is having better luck. Dependency requirements. Wes and Tina are a married couple and provide financial assistance to several persons during the current year. For the situation below, determine whether the individual qualifies as a dependent. In all the situations below, assume that any dependent test or mention have been met. Now, that's something we didn't look at a whole lot. A dependent exemption, and why? We don't get $4,100 for them now as a dependent exemption. It's only important for some problem like this where you got to pay the kiddie tax. The kiddie tax here would be $125 probably. I don't see the rate, but I think it'll be 10% the lowest. All right, that'd be a kiddie tax. But anyhow, then the parents could claim this person. Now, an exemption sometimes, having a dependent helps you with surviving spouse status, or it helps you with head of household. So we got to go back and review those dependent exemptions real quick. One, you got to be a relative. Now, a relative is anybody closer than a first cousin. Co is your uncle closer than your first cousin. Is your grandpa, your grandma, your niece, your nephew. All of those are closer than a first cousin. Okay? Now you can only take your uncle and aunt if you file a joint return. On a separate return, you can take your uncle and aunt. But you couldn't take your wife's uncle and aunt. But now on a joint return, you can take everybody's uncle and aunt as a dependent. So you got to be a relative. There is an exception to everything that IRS does just about. If you keep somebody over 6 months out of the year, you could claim it. So Jonathan gets married, naturally, his spouse is going to be a dependent. There could be two. They have a child, that child's a dependent. All right? But if Jonathan and if Jonathan right now moves somebody in and supporting him, maybe it's a fifth cousin, If you move them into your household and support them over 6 months, you can claim. It don't matter who they are. Now, your mother, your grandma, your sister, your brother, your uncle, aunt, they can live in Michigan. They don't have to live with you or a relative. Non-relatives has to live in your household. Relatives do not. All right. A citizen. You got to be a citizen of this country. The exception is bordering countries. What countries border us? Canada, Mexico. Okay. All right, so be a citizen, be a relative, and I want you to go back and look at those tests. I don't know what they set the income test for this year. So let's go back. What page is the dependent exemption on? Have you found a dependent exemption? All right, go back to page 12. All right, it says have a qualifying identification number. That simply means you have to have a social security number, don't it? Now, these foreign people, they have some other kind of number, a TIN or something. All right, you've got to meet a citizenship test, as I just told you. Make a separate. If Jonathan is married, his daddy wants to claim him, her daddy wants to claim her, they can if they file a separate return. That's what that means. You can't claim by anybody else. You can't even claim yourself. Identification number, every dependent must have a social security number. Citizenship, they mention Canada and Mexico, and the joint return, they mention that. But now I want you to look at these additional requirements. Relationship test that I talked about. All right. It mentions an age test here. They tell you who an eligible child is, stepchildren, children, siblings, that's sisters and brothers. All right, now the age test, under the age of 19, unless you're a full-time student, under 24. Abode test, a qualifying child must have the same principal abode as the taxpayer for more than half the year. An uncustodial parent meets the requirements. I want you to look at the support test. Now, the relationship test, they're changing it a little bit on me, okay? They're not saying uncle and aunt or descendants or ancestors. I don't think. Siblings. All right, descendants. It does say that. Descendants. And it should have said also ancestors. So they qualify what I told you. Now, the age test, if you're under 19, your parents can claim you. All right, no matter how much money you make, if they meet the support test. Now, if you're over 19, under 24, they can claim you if you're a full-time student. A full-time student is 5 months out of the year. That's just January to May here, one semester. Well, that's August to December, one semester. That's 5 months out of the year. Okay. Now, what's the exception to the age test? If you bring in a relative that is 45 years old and you support them, you can claim them. If they meet the support test. They don't have to meet an age test. The qualifying child may not provide more than half of his or her own support during the year. For a qualifying child, there is no requirement that the taxpayer provide more than half of the support, only that the qualifying child cannot provide more than one half of his or own support. This can be important in situations. So there's not a money limit on it now. It's just if you provide over half of somebody's support, you can take them. So those are the tests to be an exemption, even though it's not as important as it used to be. All right, look at page 214. All right, the relationship test must be related or be a member of the household. Go down to the gross income test. For 2018, the qualified taxpayer's gross income must be less than $1,150. So they still have that support test. All right, Jonathan, you're what, about 20? 20, 19? 18. All right, you're 18. Your person claim because you're under 19. All right? They can claim you because you're under 19. And you go out there and make more than 4,450. As long as they support over half. Clayton, how old are you? Clayton's 20. Now that's over 19, isn't it? Now, but he's a full-time college student. So he can make over that 4,150. If you're under 19, you can make over 4,150. Okay. But now, John Doe is not a full-time student, 20 years old. His parents can claim him if he's 30 years old, if he makes under 4,150, and they support over half. But you don't get an exemption for claiming them. You might get head of household or something else.
What if you are 19 on the dot? And you're not under 19?
Well, you gotta be 19 on the dot a certain day of the year. All right. If a child becomes 19 before December 31st, then he's not eligible. That's just like a child born on December 31st. You get a whole year exemption for. They don't give us. You get that child tax credit for $1,000. If your husband or wife, spouse dies on January 2nd, you follow joint return for the whole year. And used to, you could claim them as dependent. All right, so they've changed some things because of President Trump, okay? So we went from tax code, combined it with Trump code. Now, talking about Trump and talking about Canada and Mexico, over the weekend, he signed an agreement with Mexico, whereas I guess automobile companies has to be made 85, well, if they're made in that country, parts has to be 75% made in that country. And workers has to be paid at least $16 an hour. So he's trying to help employment again and bring back manufacturing. Okay. They'll probably do about the same thing with Canada. But those are our two neighbors that we could go to them by land. This thing's still coming up and bugging me. It still takes away my PowerPoint. Okay, so we need to know the rules on relatives, dependent, whether they help us out a whole lot or not. So that brings me down to number 32. Wes and Tina are married. Now, Brian is 24 and Wes and Tina's son. He is a full-time student and lives in an apartment. Wes and Tina provide over 50% of support. He works as a waiter and earns $4,200. All right, Jonathan, yes or no? Is he a dependent? Yes. He's a full-time student. Had he made 5,000, it'd still be yes. Same as part A, except that Brian is a part-time student. What do you think now, Cole?
Let me know.
That'd be no. And Clayton C, Shuri is 22 and Wes and Tina's daughter. She's a full-time student and lives in the college dorm. Wes and Tina provide over 50% of her support. She works part-time for $5,000. Can they claim her? She's a student. She's under 24. Yes. Same as part A, except that Shuri is a part-time student. Can they claim her? No. All right. Granny is 82, is Tina's grandmother, and lives with Wes and Tina. During the year, Granny's only source of income was her little Social Security, $4,800, and the interest of bonds of $4,500. Granny used her income to pay for 40% of her support. What do you think, guys? Can Granny be claimed? What do you think about Granny? What did I do? Skip down to, that's 32, isn't it? I want you to look at all of these. Whoa, what are they doing? This is the new law? Crap. What? He's 23. Is he a full-time student? But look at this. They used to be 24. They've changed that on us. They changed it to 23, not 24. All right, so it's no on both of those. Now she could be claimed. She can be claimed. Now what's the difference between Shuri and C and Brian and A? Look and see what the difference is. What?
She's 22.
And he's 23.
He's 24.
Yeah.
So it's saying.
Over 23.
Yeah.
They've changed this a year. All right. Now here she wouldn't be eligible because she's not a full-time student. Now see why Granny can't be claimed? All right. Her interest from the bonds exceed $41.50. If Granny's interest had been less than 41, she could be claimed because Social Security, remember this, is not included in her gross income when claiming her as a dependent. Social Security is not claimed in her gross income, claiming her as a dependent. Okay, I can't get her to answer me. Okay, I learned something new. They switched that age from 24 to 23. Going through these problems, folks. All right, let's go down to 34. 34. Robert provides much of the support of his daughter and two children. Jane earns 20 and Robert $350. He paid the rent of $11,000 on her apartment and provides an additional $15,000 support. Jane is 30 and her daughters are 7 and 4. All right. Can Robert claim Jane as a dependent? All right. Remember, Robert provides much of the support for his daughter, Jane, and her two children. Jane is his daughter, not his ex-wife. Can Robert claim Jane as a dependent? What do you think, guys? How much Jane make? No way he could claim her then, is there? But now how about her kids? All right, he cannot claim Jane. B, Jane can claim her children as dependents. He may provide over half her support to Jane's children. Jane will get the child care credit. Now, even if Robert were eligible to claim the children as dependents, he would not benefit much because his income's too high. All right, so your main answers here: he can not claim Jane. He cannot claim her children. She made money, she'll claim them. She will get child credit of $1,000 per child. That's the main points. Down to 36. Multiple support agreement, folks. They don't make a lot of sense now that you don't get exemption. Now, she said, yes, she's live streaming, but she had to download Abode Reader. What is it? Adobe. Okay, I looked at that funny. Adobe Reader. Okay. I'm tired today, Jonathan. I must say all kinds of crazy things. But anyway, so that's some key points there. Now, going down to 36. Now, multiple support agreement. All right, Clayton, if you have 3 sisters and you have an elderly mother, and all 3 of you provide 33 1/3%, then you can take a multiple support agreement. You can claim them 1 year and sister next year, if it would help you on your taxes. If it don't help you, don't claim her anyway. Now, all right, if you provide over 10% of the support. Now, that's what this problem is all about. Who provided 10% and who didn't? Okay? Now, look at this problem. Either Mario or Elaine, Caroline cannot because she is unrelated to Anna. Doug cannot because he provides less than 10%. Anna must agree in writing. No, head of household status cannot be based on dependents obtained as a result of a multiple support agreement. No, old age allowances are not available for dependents. Old age allowances increase the amount of an elder person's standard deduction, but you don't get nothing for them being a dependent. They can be blind, they can be disabled, they can be 100 years old. Right, 38. Tax forms, filing status, child credit. Tax forms. Now, you got a tax problem assigned, put on a 1040. I think Terry's already emailed that to me. There's a couple more people on if they have or not. Have you looked at that problem yet, John? You already got it done?
I tried.
Cole?
I tried it.
Right? Clayton. All right, all of you have that problem Thursday. Clayton, you did it by Thursday. Download a tax return. Have you got a book yet?
I got the textbook.
You got the form. Have you got a textbook?
I got all over.
You got it home. All right. Gonna bring your iPad. Don't need glasses. Well, If I ever get too bad with my eyesight, I never wore sunglasses in my life. Don't like them. And I'm supposed to wear reading glasses, but I don't like them. So sometimes I may have noticed 3 and 8 and a 5 sometimes run together and look about the same. But if I'm not tired, I have no trouble. But anyway, for my age, my eyesight's not bad. Okay. Cole's been wearing glasses since he was 14.
Earlier than that.
How early, Cole?
Let's say 10.
10 years old. But I had a test. I worked at Chrysler Corporation one summer, and I had a test, and they said at that time I was a lot younger, believe me, back when I was in college, and they said I'd been the only person out of 3,000 employees that got perfect on the eye test. So then I have an annual physical, and my local doctor, he has an intern, and he brought him into his office. He said, I want to show you perfect pupils. But since Chrysler said I had 2010 vision, not 2020, I had 2010. So, but anyhow, that all ended when I'm trying to drive a nail into a cinder block to hang something up in the basement. And of course, a little piece of that nail came off, went into my eye. And that's why that's why I need probably reading glasses. It was damage. But everybody's not that blessed with eyesight. All right, we're going to look at a couple more things. Then we're going to look a little bit at chapter 3 and come back to these Thursday. So keep working these even problems and keep working that 1040. And you folks live streaming, get me that 1040 by Thursday if you have it already. So now 38 tax forms. Arnie is a single college student who earned 77 working part-time. He had 200 of interest and received 1,000 support from his parents. Now, the question is, for the following, indicate which form would be used, filing status, and the number of children who are eligible. Jonathan, that's an easy one. Tackle it. How many children does he have? None? No children. All right. How's he going to file? He's not married, is he? You got to file single, don't you? But the other question is, what tax form? And you know something? It's a 1040 EZ. But now I don't care if you know that or not. Because if you always use a 1040, that takes care of a 1040 EZ, a 1048, or a 1040. And I think it's easier just to go ahead. Everybody use a 1040 long form. But that's a 1040 EZ, single, zero. Now the next one is 1048, single, zero. Now the 1040 EZ, the government would like to really have a really easy form. They'd like to have a couple of lines. How much money did you make? Send it all in. So that'd be an easy form. All right. Clayton. Often the government and politicians campaign on a flat tax. You pay 20% of everything you make, no matter who you are. If you made $5,000 last year, you pay 20%. That's $1,000, right? Okay. Now, if, let's see, who died? The owner of Apple Computer or which one died? I know Bill Gates did died. All right, let's say Bill Gates made, let's just say he had a bad year and he only made 100 million. He'd pay 20% of 100 million. Is that fair? Is that fair? You make 10,000, you pay 10 and 20%. Bill Gates makes 100 million, he pays 20%. Is that fair? A lot of people think it's fair. But that do away with the earned income credit. A lot of poor people will get back the tax refund like they do now. All right? But if you got as much money as Bill Gates, I'm okay if he has to pay 35%. I'm okay if he has to pay 40%. All right? This little notification here is bugging me to death. But I keep getting this notification. My computer will shut down at 1:25 because I refuse to restart it. And it's something that happened that I probably should have already uploaded, what have you. All right, now look at these. This person is filing head of household. All right, he can do the 1040. But this person's filing head of household can do the 1040A even with one child tax credit. Well, I want you to look at the difference between C and E. Look at the difference between C and E. All right. Why does she have to use a 1040? She's doing head of household. She's receiving alimony, and that 1040A may not take care of alimony, okay? Now, D, Edith is married. Was it D? Yeah. She is married, but her husband left her 2 years ago. He's abandoned spouse. She's abandoned spouse, and she can use the 1040A and still do head of household. Now, probably why this one has to do a 1040 is because they get alimony. I'm not worried about this. Do the 1040, don't worry about the rest. Number 40, dependents, child credits, and divorce. John and Marie, who have 2 young children, are in the process of obtaining a divorce. He expects to have $250,000 of income each year, while Maria expects to have $180,000 of income each year. Assume the children will live with Maria after the divorce and that one will pay child support. All right, what advice can you provide? What advice can you provide regarding tax rate schedules? All right. I advise them both file 1040. They're both making good money. I advise them to take time about claiming the children as dependents. But a problem like this, I wouldn't worry you with on a test. All right, 42, following requirements. We want to look at that one real fast. All right, you can make so much income and not have to file, right? I want to go to 42. Amy did not file because her gross income is less than 12. And her self-employed is less than 4. So less than 12 for a single person. Betty did not file as her gross income is $9,100, is less than $13,600. Betty, she's a senior citizen or blind, and she got $1,600 more added on to her standard. Blind or old age. Chris must file as his gross income exceeds his standard deduction of $2,250. Now look at Chris. What happened there? Read C. How much money did Chris make in C? $1,900.
Yeah.
All right. And if you look at this, Jonathan, what do you see right there? You see the same 350, don't you? That's just the amount that they add on to your wages, and they call that your standard deduction. Now, D, Dawn must file because her unearned income is over $1,050, and her total gross income exceeds her standard deduction. Dawn must file her unearned income exceeds. Now, your unearned income is interest and dividends. Well, this hateful thing cut me totally off here. All right. Doug must file because his gross income is over zero and he is married and not living with his spouse. So if you're married, filing separate, it don't matter what your income is. If your spouse has to file, you have to file. So a few tidbits on those. Now, 44. Filing status. All right, Clayton, I want you to read A and Jonathan B and Cole C. And you all tell me their filing status. Okay, before this thing decides to shut down on me, John, what'd you have for number 44A? Cole? What? Oh, Clay, what'd you have for A?
For 2016, I did married.
All right. She has a 2016. All right. She files a joint return even though he died in October. It don't matter when he died that year, they can file a joint return. All right, but if you went on no Clayton, for 17, she files as a single. All right. And she's not a qualifying child. At 18, if she had a child, she could have filed surviving spouse. Okay. Who had B part, guys? What you got, Jonathan? All right. But anyway, 219 was the same. Now, Juanita does not qualify for head of household because Josh is not a qualifying child. He's over 18 and is not a full-time student. I thought the book said under 19. That says over 18. It used to be 17, but we're going to take 18. It makes more sense. Cole, what did you have? She can, even though she is still legally married, she needs the test. All right. Anyway, she can. Now, I don't know what this is going to do to me in a couple of minutes. But now, try to do for homework 46, 47, 48, and 49. Try to have answers written down for those come Thursday. All right. We'll soon have this chapter wrapped up. Now, also for Thursday, have your tax return problem ready from chapter 2. Also for Thursday, try to read chapter 3. Okay, now, we've got a few minutes left. I don't know if it's going to cut off or not, but we've got some class time left. All right, what is income? I want you to read page 2 and 3, well. All right, Jonathan, you work, don't you? You get wages. That's income. All right. Cole, if your daddy gives you $100, is that income? No. All right. Now, Clayton, what if you went to work for your neighbor? All right. No matter what you pay, you're supposed to trade in. Now, you're not supposed to trade services. Like if you were a mechanic and you did $400 worth of work for a lawyer and said, forget it. In return, he gave you $400 worth of legal fees. He says, forget it. That's trading. IRS says that's illegal. Hopefully, you should report $400 worth of income, but not, even though you're trading services. All right. Go back to the question, Clayton. You go to work and your employer owes you $200. But he says, I'm going to declare bankruptcy. I don't have the money, Clayton. I'm going to give you this watch. And you take the watch and you have it appraised for $250. Now, what was his wages supposed to be? $200. But the watch he got, fair market value, is how much? $250. Which one do you think he should pay taxes on? $200 or $250? What do you think? $250. You pay on the fair market value what you took in lieu of wages. All right, so you can read about this economic test and all that. But I want you to look at page 4. Page 4. Now, on page 4, they give you that list again. On page 4, they give you that list again. Oh, wait a minute. It says now it will reset Tuesday. I'm okay on my time here. They switched it to Tuesday. Wait a minute. This is Tuesday, 2018 at 1:25 a.m. This is the 28th, right? AM was already passed, hasn't it? AM passed this morning. I thought that was PM. I thought it had to be PM. It's going to shut down on me at 1:25. But it's not.
The clock's wrong.
What?
The clock is wrong. Yeah, it shows 12:50 a.m. when you're. It's 1:25.
And it says AM, don't it?
Yes.
It's going by the Surface Pro's clock. I don't know if that's the internet clock. It could be. But Clayton, good observation. So at 12:50, and my computer has 35 more minutes. In 35 minutes, it'll be 1:25 a.m. Huh. And it's already come up to 8:28. We're on 8:28, but this is this morning. Most of you are asleep. All right, got that straight.
Change the drop down to more than something.
The what?
That little tab beside it where it says 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Change it to like 30 minutes. It won't pop up.
Yeah, that's as high as it'll go, won't it? Yeah, okay. Well, I'm going to minimize that thing anyway. It still popped up.
Yeah, remind me.
Okay. All right, now all my students out there is seeing is this 3-dimension thing, okay? Okay, I have no PowerPoint up there, and I have no whatever. I do have a camera up there, though, that if I flip it, it will be on you or me, but we just don't take time to do that. Okay, this list of income, we're going to be talking about income. Compensation for service, what have you. Now, Jonas, if you own a paycheck in December and you don't get paid until January the 2nd, what W-2 will that be on, 2018 or 2019? No, you don't get paid till January the 2nd, 2019. Let me reword that. It will be on your 2019 W-2. So for what he made in December, he wouldn't have to pay tax on 2018. Not what was W-2. But now if you were a accrual basis taxpayer, if this were a company, by the end of December, you would debit accounts receivable and credit fees earned, and you'd report it. So it depends if you're cash basis or accrual basis. Okay. All right, they should tell you some of that along the way there. I want to get over to okay, page 8 or page 6. See, that's the ring glass thing. It's page 6, not 8. All right. Okay, Jonathan, you worked. When's your next payday?
Every Thursday.
You get paid this Thursday? All right. But you decided to give it to Cole, who's your good buddy. All right. You even talked your company in to give Cole the paycheck. All right. Who's going to be taxing that? You or Cole? Well, one who earned is taxed on it. That's just a gift to Cole. He will not be taxed on it. You cannot assign your income or give your money to anybody. Now, allocating income between married people. Now, you can do that if you file separate. Now, is West Virginia a common law state? It's not. There are a lot of common law states. If you live together, man, as a man and a woman, if you live together 5 years, you're legally married. You'll be legally married. Virginia and West Virginia are not common law states. Okay. Now, if you have a girlfriend living with you, we'll talk about dependents. Dependent don't give you much now, that $4,050 exemption. If you have a girlfriend living with you, you cannot take her as an exemption because it's an illegal relationship in some states. Okay? Now, if it was just a friend or a fifth or 10th cousin you were supporting, you might could. So I had that before, and I had a tax business. I had a tax business for a couple of years, and I ran it while I was working and full-time secretary partner. But one man wanted me to take his girlfriend. Well, she lives with me, but she's not your wife. He said, she's just like a wife to me. But I said, in Virginia, we don't have a common law state. You're not married. You can't claim her. They wanted to off the bat. Those exemptions helped out a lot. Okay, no. So, all right. When is income taxable? That's the cash versus accrual basis. That's on page 8. Read this real well when you read this chapter. And when is income received? Now, Cole, you get a check on December 31st. Cash or accrual, it don't matter. But you don't cash that to January 5th of 2019. When do you count it? Huh? December 31st. It's constructively received whether you cashed it or not. So that's what these couple of pages are about. Did you cash the check? Was the check bad? Was it in the mail or whatever? So read these pages about constructive receipt. And please look at those accounting methods real well. Now, then we'll start items of gross income, and we'll discuss those more thorough. So let's call it a day. Tax return, some problems, read chapter 3 real well. And we'll close it down for the day.